All right. Motion to hear the delegation, please. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, opposed, and carried. The delegation is in regard to affordable homes for all, and the speakers are Leslie Madison and Erica Schinzel. You have you have 10 minutes to make your presentation.
First, it is necessary for me to acknowledge the territories on which we stand today as uninvited guests. Yep, and that includes you, the city of Burnaby. Burnaby is located on Coast Salish territories, home to the Coquitlam, Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. It is with deep gratitude that I acknowledge that our ancestors' presence today Corrigan and the City Council, but the provincial government of British Columbia and the federal government of Canada. Point 1, the private rental market has failed working class people. The 2006 consensus found that 51% of renters in the Metrotown area pay more than 30% of their incomes towards rent. And in 2016, survey done by the Stop Dem Evictions Burnaby campaign found that this problem has become more serious in time. Instead of home ownership or market rentals, Burnaby needs to work towards universal housing programs, redistributing corporate real estate fortunes through taxes for social co-op and senior housing. Point 2. Burnaby needs a universal housing program that provide a range of non-market housing for all working class people. All non-market housing could be subsidized to accommodate rents at $375 for a single occupant, which is what those who are on welfare are allocated to spend on their housing. And that is also to include the cost of the phone and their electric. I would like to add. 1/3 of what people, we were asking that 1/3 of what pensioners receive to also be the rate of their housing. That does not mean that all people in social housing should be on welfare, but that social housing should be accessible to people on welfare. We know how long that the waiting lists are. Point 3. We need 10,000 units of non-market housing a year just in BC and 77,000 units of non-market housing in Canada every year. And we need that over the next 10 years. Building and operating universal non-market housing requires action from all levels of government, and municipalities play an important role. Both the Local Governments Act and the Provincial Community Charter allow for and encourage municipalities to create policies that encourage the construction of more social housing. I will remind you. The tripartite breakdown of responsibility for building and operating non-market housing in the municipality provides the land. The federal government provides the money to build, usually through funding dispensed by the province, and the province provides the operating money. Sounds reasonable to me. In 2017, federal housing budget was recently released, which allocates $290 million a year for the entire country towards the social housing, amounting to 1,450 units of social housing a year. This greatly falls short. Although the provincial housing budget has yet to be released, there is no way it will allocate enough money to fund the social housing low-income communities in BC need, as the BC NDP housing platform indicates. Therefore, it is evident that municipalities such as Burnaby need to step up and provide the funds to end the housing crisis facing low-income renters in the communities. Point 4, Burnaby needs to champion universal non-market housing that is purpose-built as housing is as a solution for all non-owners. Non-market housing is housing built and operated according to the people's needs, not the profits of corporations and landlords, and because non-market housing is not guided by the speculation of investors, but by the needs of the residents and can be planned and designed by the residents. Some buildings should be dedicated to stopping the displacement of communities that experience an elevated displacement threat, like refugees. Some buildings should be designed specifically to accommodate extended Indigenous families that need space and access for grandparents. I would also add the Chinese communities, the Asian communities also need to have that space within Burnaby. Or for the single-parent, low-income families that need to be the child care center so that they can work. In conclusion, I, like many Burnaby residents, have lost faith in the Mayor Corrigan, the Burnaby City Council, as well as the provincial and federal government's interest to support Indigenous, refugee, low-income, and working-class populations. If our interests continue to be denied, then so too will be the forthcoming eviction notices. All my relations.
Good evening. My name is Erika Schinzel, and I will just add a few things to what Leslie said. But first of all, thank you for the opportunity to present our vision of the Metrotown housing development, which is our people's plan for Metrotown development. Your interest is much appreciated. The People's Plan for Metrotown shows that there is an alternative way to house people. Glasses would help. Without displacing thousands of renters of lower-end market apartments and without throwing these renters into despair and uncertainty. I will hand out copies to you after the presentation. Your Metrotown rezoning plan, however, is designed to house 40,000 people within the next few years while displacing 6,000 people without offering them any housing alternatives. You have been approving rezoning applications from development corporations for condo towers as if the devil was chasing you, as if you were competing against Vancouver. And by doing so, you have also copied the mistakes that Vancouver has made. As you probably know too, as per July 2017, the median rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Vancouver is $2,090. Must I say more? Earlier this month, the mayor of Williams Lake stayed behind as the single occupant of his town when everyone else had left following a fire evacuation order, like a responsible captain of a ship. Now look at you. Look at how you are treating your current renters in Metrotown. Your actions indicate that you are giving a damn. We need affordable homes for all income groups, not more housing for those who can easily afford to buy condos and houses, and not for deep-pocket investors who just want to make good cash and seek high return on their investments. There are many people in Burnaby and around who will never be able to purchase a condo. These people need to be housed too, or maybe not. We, the people, have been seeking your attention and dialogue with you for the past 2.5 years. Okay, you may not have liked what you were reading, hearing, and seeing from us, but that does not excuse the fact that you have never tried to dialogue with us or our communities or seek alternatives. Instead, the mayor keeps shrugging his shoulders and pointing fingers to the province and the feds, forcing communication to going in circles. You are not innocent. There are things you can do. Councillors, if you have a pulse, you probably have a heart. If you are individual independent thinkers and you don't have to follow the mayor's poor judgment and bad example, instead ask your conscience and vote with your heart. Vote no on your Metrotown plan as it is now. Give it more time. Give the people a chance. Give us a chance. We sincerely hope you will take the time during the summer break to review the people's plan that the Stop Dam Evictions Burnaby campaign has worked out. It shows that there are alternatives to mass displacement. We are convinced that a win-win-win solution can be found. Win for the city, win for the developers, and win most and foremost for the people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation, your very thoughtful presentation. We appreciate that.
This is a petition of hundreds of Burnaby residents and of the zone, living in the zone, and their supporters that oppose strongly what is happening here. So please vote no and find a better solution.
Thank you. All right, if I can have a motion to resolve into a committee of the whole. And moved and seconded. All those in favor, opposed, and carried. All right, moving on to reports. The Public Safety Committee is the first report. Councillor Calandino, you're the chair of that committee.
Thank you, Your Worship. And the first report is the intersection operation at Goring Street and Holdham Avenue. And the recommendation is that Council authorize the installation of an all-way stop control at the intersection of Goring Street and Holdham Avenue as detailed in this report.
Second, please.
Your Worship, we had several requests to make improvements at this specific intersection. If you can see from the picture on page 21, it happens to be a T-intersection with Goring Street terminating at Holdham Avenue and Holdham Avenue having the President's right-of-way. The issue here that traffic coming from Goring Avenue, Goring Street East, has a lot of difficulty making left turns onto Holm to be able to go north or even go on Lougheed Highway. So traffic looked at the issue and came up with a solution. And the solution is to put an all-way traffic control there in conjunction with a crosswalk and a corner right turn channelization island with, on Holdham Avenue, going right on Goring, and from Goring Avenue going right south on Holdham Avenue, which would create 2 lanes of traffic, one going right and one going left, minimizing the wait time for traffic. The upgrades will obviously improve the level of service and reduce delayed experience by motorists, as well as improving the safety of pedestrians at the intersection. And the cost of this will be about $60,000, and the funding is available within the 2017 capital budget for minor traffic management projects. And because it's an issue of safety and traffic control, the funding contribution from ICBC will be requested.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, and carried. Next report also from Public Safety Committee.
This is also intersection operations at Beresford Street and Willingdon Avenue. The recommendations are that council authorize geometric modification at the intersection of Beresford Street and Willingdon Avenue as detailed in this report, and that a copy of this report be sent to Ms. Anna Solnikova of Unit 504, 4350 Beresford Street. Again, Your Worship, there were several requests sent to staff and to the committee regarding this specific intersection. This is a real problematic intersection in that it is within only 30 meters or 35 meters from, excuse me, the signalized intersection at Central Boulevard. Therefore, signalizing also Beresford would create traffic jams in the area and increase the safety hazards of the place. It is noted that obviously Beresford is not signalized, but Central Boulevard is. The staff has done the usual study and has looked at a variety of options there, and has considered specific options that are actually listed on the bottom of page 28, but most of these options are taken into consideration in the three recommendations they make. The first option, A, would be a new traffic signal, and staff did not consider that a traffic signal at Beresford would be appropriate in this case, in that it would be a very short distance from the signalized intersection at Central Avenue, and therefore between those two there would be traffic jams and would be problematic in the area. The second option was to have a road closure of Beresford Street at Willingdon, and even though that would improve operational performance, it would deprive access to the developments and decrease connectivity on Beresford Street. For the moment, this is not a recommended option, but in the future, with the growth in the area, it might be reconsidered. The choice that staff has recommended is option C, which is simply minor geometric modification, which consists of a raised concrete center median on Willingdon Street, south of Central Avenue, as shown in figure 3. The median would prohibit the most problematic left-out and through crossing movement from Beresford, as well as the southbound left-turn movement from Willingdon onto Beresford. The median along Willingdon would provide a balanced approach where the most problematic traffic movements would be prohibited while maintaining some access in and out of Beresford. The cost of these modifications would be about $130,000, and the work would be completed in conjunction with road rehabilitation payment work scheduled for 2018, not this year. And again, because it involves safety benefits, contribution from ICBC Road Improvement Program will be sought again. And this is review of pedestrian crosswalks at 4 locations, and the recommendation that council authorize the installation of roadside mounted special crosswalks at 4 existing market crosswalks as detailed in this report. Okay, to be very short, Your Worship, the existing crosswalks are at North Fraser Way and Fraserton Court, at North Fraser Way and Fraserwood Court, at East Lake Drive and Centaurus Drive, and at Halifax Street and Augusta Drive. The current intersections have zebra lines in the crosswalks, but they are of a certain age and have been there a long time, and there has been growth both of residential areas in East Lake and Halifax. East Lake, of course, is a secondary school right at that intersection. But at North Fraser Way, the increase in business activity there has a lot more pedestrians in those areas, which warrants an improvement of the crosswalks. The recommendation is that the crosswalks be upgraded to special crosswalk with additional roadside mounted RRFBs. Now, if I can figure out what RRFBs are, here it is. They're rectangular rapid flashing beacons, which are now approved by the Transportation Association of Canada to replace the circular beacon, which used to be installed before. This will be the first time this technology will be installed, and apparently the flashing is more frequent and the cost is much less than it was before. So the recommendation is to install this raised crosswalk with the new square beacons before the crosswalks at a cost of $120,000, and again with contribution from ICBC, hopefully. That is all my reports, Your Worship.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this report? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, and carried.